So thank you all for joining. My name's Jason. I'm with a company called Minga. We are a behavior and engagement platform. Well, there's always been behavior problems. What's different today is how much time we're spending dealing with behavior challenges on campus. That's what's different. They're saying right now from National Department of Education is saying 20 to 25% of a teacher's day is spent on behavioral problems. 40 to 50% of administrators' days are spent on behavioral problems today. That is a huge problem. The Wild West problem comes to this is that if it's different in every single classroom, this teacher does hallways this way, this teacher does hallways this way, there's no consistent framework for that student to live in their day-to-day life on campus. But when it comes to how we operate on campus every day, that consistency is going to provide a ton of return, ton of value back to your student body. It also has a ton of return for the teacher, that this is no longer something that they're spending their day thinking about. So bringing that consistent guideline and that consistent framework that in every single classroom, it's exactly the same all the time, how this works, what behaviors are acceptable, what behaviors are not, how behaviors get tracked. Tardies is another great example of this consistency. It gives our students a framework of accountability to operate with on a day-to-day basis. At the end of the day, that framework becomes a safe environment for them to operate. Feeling safe and feeling like I belong are the two fundamental requirements for feeling like I have a sense of community.
We had 574 hours of extra instructional time, so we were able to see that. We had 29,000 behaviors assigned. We had 15,000 on and off campus check-ins. We have a 67% decrease in tardies. Again, 52% decrease in the hallway hours where kids were out in the hallways itself. But one thing I will tell you is Minga's here to stay for us because I've seen such a big difference.
It then immediately sends an email to the parents and says, your child has checked in. Greatest thing ever. And that was early on when I started really using it. I thought, ooh, I can do that. And then when they check out, because also freshmen who think they are grown decide they want to leave an hour later, and then they check out, and we check out through Minga, and it immediately sends their parents an email. That kid comes back the next day and says, what did you send to my parents? And he was like, what do you mean? So my parents said you sent something that I did something positive in class. Well, light bulbs went on. So then our goal now was, how can we talk about the positives? Because again, at 9th grade, we're usually talking about they're not in class, they're absent, they're meeting up in the bathroom, they're vaping, they're fighting. And so that became something that our team focused on with how can we utilize praise points and then what do we do with it? This was the funniest part of Lowry this year because we talked about Minga points like they were the best things ever.
So we created these things called Minga tardy stations. We also created PBIS stores off of it. We created hall passes. Now we know where students are at all times on our campus, are very close to where they should be, and we're able to check that. Now we do have 3 hall monitors that help us on this part of it, on the hall passes, that their job is to check and make sure that the kids have their Minga pass.
If you're on your 10th tardy, then there's gonna be a consequence that goes with that. And so it automates it for our kids. And so it's not one more thing for our principals to go keep up with how many tardies they have because it goes right into the Minga system and I can pull a report on any single kid. And so as the automations continue up, obviously the discipline and the referrals. The other thing that's great about it is it sends an email to the parents. If you got older teachers that aren't minding the technology, this is easy to use, okay? This is not gonna scare people away. And so basically we use everything. We're trying as hard as we can to essentially get rid of the paper. It makes our school building run so much smoother.